Seeing the space in between. This is about seeing and hearing the space in between. And this is one of the milestones that I see people reach when they start to process their stored emotions and start to unpack some of the deep and the dark stuff that is buried in their body. If you are listening to this live, I have got a free live masterclass where I'm going to be talking about this in depth and sharing with you the release process that I use with my clients. It's going to be on Thursday, the 13th of January at 11 a.m. New Zealand time. You do need to register. It's a 2-hour live masterclass, and you can register at theartoflisteningtoyourbody.com/release. I will pop it in the podcast notes. There will be a replay, but it will only be up for a few weeks. After that, I am going to be launching one of my signature courses, the 6-week release course. So if you're listening to this in real time, hopefully you will be able to jump on board that. So in the release masterclass, I am going to be talking about why we store emotions, how we store emotions, how they manifest when it gets too much for the body, and how our body then releases when we start to process our emotions. And one of the key pillars of my work is the release process. So I'm going to be sharing the step-by-step themes, prompts of what you can do to start to process your emotions. So if you're listening live and you catch this before Thursday, the 13th of January, you can come live at 11 a.m. New Zealand time. Otherwise, you might be able to get the replay for a few weeks. So let me dive into one of the milestones that happens when people start to process their emotions. Before people start to see the space in between, they usually notice that they're generally getting less triggered in life. So the people around them that would usually push their buttons and cause them to feel quite stressed internally, maybe physically, mentally, maybe they get triggered and their behavior isn't that pleasant, like they're angry or they swear, however it manifests for this person. When they start to process their emotions, and usually it's a very conscious decision to want to make a change, you need to desire to make a change and make a decision. Once they've processed their emotions, they find, oh, I'm all of a sudden getting less triggered. And then another milestone, which is really fascinating that some people get a little bit bewildered by, is what I call seeing the space in between. And it's about seeing and hearing it. So what is this exactly? I describe it as seeing the space and hearing the space in between is that all of a sudden you become so much more present in life. You just notice that you are hearing people. You can actually listen to them, especially when it is the people who used to trigger you. So you become more present, you can hear their words, and you even start reading between the lines. You can hear and see the pain behind their reaction and how they're speaking to you. But you hear them on a much deeper level. You can also hear yourself think before you choose to speak. And as you speak, you can hear what you're actually saying. So all of a sudden, it's like things slow down. And you have this space in between these conversations or these events. So this person who would usually trigger you, they're saying something, they're acting a certain way, and you can see and hear them in the present moment for who they really are. You can observe and see and hear yourself thinking. And this event that would normally trigger you, you all of a sudden have the space where you can have the time to make a choice on how it is you respond to the situation. So if you haven't processed your emotions, this space doesn't tend to exist. Instead, what happens is you have an interaction with this person, you see them, they say something to you, they behave a certain way, and you just go straight to a reaction. And sometimes it is the reaction that you regret. You might say something, you might be really rude, you might internalize it and feel that discomfort brew up inside of you. So if you have a very full emotional cup, you won't have this space. But when you start to process your emotions, you will feel this space in between, you will see it and you will hear it. And instead of reacting, you have this split second, which seems like it's a much longer time, to make a choice on how you respond. Because this deeper work is all about how do you respond to life, not how do you react. A reaction is usually coming from an emotional place, whereas a response is a lot healthier. And nowadays, I find a lot of people feel like they need to give people an answer or a response immediately. And I say, who are you in the gap? Just allow that space, that silence, which can be incredibly uncomfortable. And again, if you haven't done some deeper work, emotional work, that gap can be incredibly awkward. And that's where people go to fill it and they say silly things and they go and they just regret what they say. So they have reacted in the moment rather than taking a step back and be comfortable in the gap, in the space, taking a breath, and then thinking about how it is they want to respond. And it might be just some simple words like, okay, I hear you. I don't have anything to say. Let me get back to you. It really depends on what the situation is. But when you get to the point of seeing, hearing, and feeling the space in between, it's a really amazing place. And I want you to know that if you are doing some personal work on yourself, that this is one of the key milestones that I notice and that I celebrate with my clients when they are telling me in their own words that they're feeling more present, that they are able to read people and understand people on a deeper level, and they're just feeling so much calmer with their interactions. So seeing the space in between is a really nice place to be. It's where you can stand in your power. It is where you can hold the energy, even if someone is reacting in a not so pleasant way. And it's really interesting to see how the other person who would usually trigger you reacts or responds to you being in the gap and being in your power. So I hope this encourages you to do the deeper work. Maybe you have had a glimpse of seeing the space in between. If so, know that it is possible to stay in it longer and longer. Remember, if you're listening to this live or within a few weeks, I would love you to join me for the free Release Live Masterclass, which is on Thursday, the 13th of January at 11 a.m. New Zealand time. It's Wednesday for States, Canada, and anyone in Europe. There is going to be a replay. You do need to register at theartoflisteningtobody.com/release. I'll pop it in the podcast notes, and the replay will only be up for a few weeks. I look forward to seeing you there. This is where you can interact with me. I will answer your questions and we'll have some live Q&A later on. Bye.